A lot of people don't know this, but where a lot of the crop circles, or most of the crop circles, appear every year in England, it's the county of Wiltshire. And Wiltshire is the same county where Stonehenge exists and the Avebury Circle. So it's like it's actually a very ancient county, very kind of weird and strange. When you enter it, it's got this sort of magical atmosphere. And it's kind of like going back in time. And, a lot of the old villages still haven't changed, over literally hundreds of years, the sort of same old cottages and buildings and, castles and pubs, thankfully.
Okay.
And, so it's, when you go there, it's a very atmospheric kind of old county. And it's interesting that in this county that has all this sort of rich history of sort of magical and mysterious stone circles, this is where every year most of the crop circles also appear. And of course, over the last few years, these so-called crop circles have expanded into what are known as pictograms, these extremely detailed formations that have been found. Many of them actually appeared very close to the Avebury Circle and to Stonehenge, literally sort of overnight, within a few hours sometimes. And a number of these formations, they're literally kind of like 200 feet long and geometrically correct. You have to wonder if it's all done by people. How on earth, they've done it in a field in pitch black darkness. And in many cases, the farmers have people out there patrolling the fields at night. And people don't get caught. And probably the biggest thing that many people may not appreciate is that when you look at these formations, if people being people, you'd imagine occasionally, if these were all being done by human hands, so to speak, that there would be some where they basically had to stop making them because they made a mistake, but they're all sort of perfectly formed. Why is it that if it's people doing it in pitch black darkness at night, we're not seeing ones where they made an error? Surely there would have been one or two, sort of mistakenly created formations or designs where they had to stop making them or start over again, and there'll be evidence, telltale tracks. But we're not getting that. But what we are getting is a lot of reports of these strange balls of light flying over the fields as well. Very similar to the ones seen over Stonehenge and the Avebury Circle. They seem to be taking either an interest in the circles, or some people have suggested they actually make them. There are a number of stories of people seeing these balls sort of swooping low over the fields, and then the formations kind of actually being created as the corn kind of lies down below them. And today it's very much become like a big tourist attraction in Britain, for whereas people before would sort of go to the beach and for a few days, told us to go and see the crop circle, so that's what people do. They go to Wiltshire to see crop circles, and but the farmers actually don't mind. A lot of people think they do, because contrary to what people might think, the corn, when it's laid down, actually isn't broken, continues to grow. So again, it suggests it's not like some heavy force that's pushed it down and snapped it. It's been lowered very, very carefully. And if the farmers don't sort of cut the corn, and collect it, it actually keeps growing. It just grows horizontal instead of upwards. But it can still be collected and turned into corn and breakfast cereal or whatever. So the farmers don't really like it, but most of them, sort of charge an equivalent of $1 or so to let you in the field and, sort of look at the crop circle. But most of them would prefer, that these formations didn't appear, because it does cause them a lot of hassle. There have been quite a few in America. There were a lot more in the 90s than there are today. And at one point in Britain, they were all over the country, but now they are sort of really, I wouldn't say totally focused, but heavily focused in Wiltshire. Why that is, one parallel that people have made is that, we have a lot of stone circles like Stonehenge in Wiltshire. Now we're seeing crop circles. So thousands of years ago there were stone circles, now there's crop circles. Could it be the same thing making them, but from a different perspective, to try and relate something to the people of that era? One theory is that maybe places like Stonehenge and the Avebury Circle were built because the ancients saw these crop circles being made in that area, and so built the stone circles as like paying homage to these sort of what they perceived as magical crop circles, But crop circles do actually go back a very long time. One of the most famous stories what's become known as the Mowing Devil. If you look that up on the internet, Mowing Devil, you'll see this ancient drawing going back to, I think it's the 1700s, of this flattened area of corn. It's like told in an ancient parchment. And there's like an actual circular area, flattened ground in a field, and this little sort of jet black coloured figure, like a little goblin, walking around the field with a scythe as if he's laying the field down. But the document talks about how this mysterious circle appeared overnight, and the story was that the devil made it, and so it has this little, like an imp type character in the field with his scythe laying it down. But this almost certainly is an example of a very early crop circle from hundreds of years ago. And interestingly enough, whoever wrote the report said the reason why it was found is because the night before somebody saw this strange light hovering over the field, and so they went out the next day and then found the formation. So, you know, there's no way you can sort of distance that from today's stories. It's almost identical. They just put a different spin on, you know, the cause of it, aliens versus, you know, something demonic was the way they looked at it back then.